Then Sahasrara. This one's accentation could really kind of differ, but it's not really that important. More on the actual pronunciation of Sahasrara. His Japanese name is Sahasrara, which is generally the exact same thing. Okay, now we move on to races. Well, as in heritage, like. We've got first up Goron, and now I've never really heard it pronounced like this, but I guess some people do pronounce it like Goron, but I'm not really sure about that. The Japanese name is Goron, but in Japanese the O sound many times will indicate the soft O sound in English, as in Goron. So I'm pretty sure it's Goron. And so then we have Zora, which isn't any harder. No one's really had trouble with that. And its Japanese name is Zora. Zora. Then I've heard lots of problems with this one. Garuda. I'm very sure it's supposed to be Gerudo. I've heard it Gerudo, or Gerudo. I don't even see how it could be like the U at the end. But the Japanese pronunciation, or Japanese name, is Nerudo. Which obviously shows that it's supposed to be a hard G sound, like G, as in Gerudo, instead of a J, not Gerudo, whatever. And so, it's probably supposed to be Gerudo. And then we have the Twilight, which never actually were given a name in the Japanese version of Twilight Princess, but they were in English. But this one is a no-brainer. It's just Twilight, short for Twilight. Then we have Rito. This one's not any harder either. Japanese name, Rito. It's just supposed to be Rito. Deku. Yeah, I've had it pronounced like Deku for some reason all the time. I've always heard that it's Deku. I know this one is supposed to be Deku though. The Japanese name is Deku. It's a direct romanization in English, and Deku in Japanese actually refers to something very similar, a wooden creature, or well, a wooden figure or doll or puppet. Then we have Kokiri. Well, this one is a direct romanization of the Japanese name too, Kokiri. Okay, then finally we have locations and places throughout the games. We have Ordon. Now, I haven't really heard this by anyone else, but according to Zelda Universe, it's they believe it to be Ordon or Ordone, maybe. Though I don't believe so. The Japanese name is Toaru, but the Japanese name for Eldon is actually Orudin, which actually sounds a lot more close to Ordon. And that would make sense because the beginning sound isn't extended. So I'm really led to believe that the beginning, the first syllable of Ordon is supposed to be accented, and I believe it should be Ordon, but I'm not really so sure about this one though. So I'll leave that up to everyone else. So I'm not really sure about it. Same thing with Ordona. Well, that one maybe is probably Ordona. So it might actually be Ordone, but it might also still be Ordon. And then we've got Farron or Farron. Zelda Universe also has it as Farron. I'm still not really sure that I can agree with that. But maybe. I'm still closer though to Farron or Farron. The Japanese name is Firone, but that's because it sounds more like Firone, a 3-syllable word. And if you're going by maybe like English or Spanish, a 3-syllable word generally has the middle syllable accented. So because Farron is there's actually 2 syllables instead of 3, I believe the accent may go on Farron. But if it is pronounced Farron, then I believe it's the first syllable. If it's pronounced Farron, then it's obviously got to be the second, because it doesn't really sound like Farron. Maybe it could be, but I'm not so sure about these. Eldon, sure, it's very simple. Eldon, kind of like elder. Its Japanese name is Orudin, so yeah, that just kind of goes with it. Laneru is just a direct. It's the same thing as the Japanese version. Laneru. It's the ne that's extended, so the ne in Laneru is probably the one accented. And then this one has been lots of controversy too. Hyrule. I've heard it so many times pronounced as Hyrule or something. I really do not believe that the accent goes on rule. And not just because I also just grew up pronouncing it like that, but I believe it's supposed to. I mean, here's the Japanese pronunciation. Haidaru. Well, there's no extensions to help indicate where the accenting should go, but I really don't see how it could sound any sense. Call it like Hyrule. It's not a. If you were to call it separate words in English, high and rule, as indicating a high rule, yes, the rule would obviously be accented, but as a name, if you've ever seen in English, there are a lot of like 2 words that are normally separate, when combined, have a completely different meaning, like goodbye. When you're referring to a well, or a goodbye, the accent would go on the bye, because the good is describing bye. But as a one word saying hello, as the opposite of hello, goodbye, it's accented on goodbye. So, as this shown, being one word, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Hyrule, but I'm all leaving it open, so it still could be Hyrule. But I think I've also heard it pronounced Hyrule somewhere, but I'm not sure. Hylia, as in Lake Hylia. Same thing here. I don't really see to make any sense, pronounced Hylia or something. I'm pretty sure it's Hylia. The Japanese name is Hylia. And same thing with Hylian. It doesn't make any sense to be pronounced Hylian. And then Termina. I've heard this pronounced crazy well, I don't want to insult anyone, but Termina, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Termina, as in it's referring to terminate, as terminate means to end, as in what, Termina was supposed to be, what was supposed to happen to it. Skull Kid ends up destroying, was supposed to end up destroying Termina. He's supposed to terminate it, end it. So I don't get it. I've heard it as Termina, which really doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't agree with Zelda Universe on their accenting, calling it Termina. It doesn't make much sense either. I really think it's supposed to I think it's supposed to be accented on the first syllable, and so it should be Termina, as in terminate. And same thing on the pronunciation of Termina versus Termina, because the Japanese name is Tarumina. So it's Mina, as in it's saying Termina, not Termina. And so